Hello, this is Dr. DD in the place to be, and I'm here with Chef Bree on the eve of Big Picture Living Day. Have it your way.
Yeah, have it your way. Some healthy Rasta pasta we're going to be chefing up today. And you're going to learn how to heal yourself using food. How about that?
How about that?
How about that?
Lifestyle, medicine. Life is your medicine.
Food is medicine.
So first of all, welcome to anybody who will be listening and watching this. This is Dr. DD in the place to be, and I'm here with Chef Bree. And we're hungry. And what do you do when you're hungry and you want to eat in a healthy type of way?
You hire me.
There you
Chef
go.
Bree, to make it for you. So first things first, I have already washed my hands. I have not touched anything while we waited to tape. So shall we begin?
I think we should.
All right. So we are going to make some Rasta pasta. Rasta pasta is one of our fan favorites. It usually sells out every time we make it, and it's delicious. So we're going to start with a little bit of avocado oil. And I don't measure, like the memes say, I just wait till my ancestors whisper in my ear, that's enough, child. And that's that. But we're going to put like a couple tablespoons of olive oil. We're going to start that avocado oil. And this is probably one of the better oils for you to cook with.
I got wild avocado and not good old corn oil or something like that.
Because you can't process that. There's a whole longer scientific explanation and also the process of how oil is made and how it's extracted. So that's like a whole other conversation. I don't think we have enough time for that. But do some research, because as educators, what we do is we plant the seed, but it's up to you to water it. So go on there and research why avocado oil is better for you than other oils on the market. So anyway, so we have about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, avocado oil in the pan. And we're going to start with some vegan sausage. So this one is garlic and herb. I usually use the Chipotle one, but it's harder to find here. So I can't find a lot of the stuff that I usually use. So
Exhibit A.
Some vegan. And this is Field Roast brand for people who know. I do not get paid to endorse them. They're just one of the better ones on the market. But if they're watching this and they want to, accept me as a brand ambassador, I'm down.
Okay.
So we're going to put the pan on medium. And this pan was already on, so it's actually a little bit warm. So I'm gonna saute.
And what's the name? What type of meat is that again? What's the name of it?
This is garlic and herb vegan sausage from Field Roast. That's the brand. I like them because they don't have soy. I do use some stuff with soy, but not a lot. And this one is not this one tastes really, really good. A lot of vegan meat substitutes taste a little off-putting.
Yeah,
they taste weird.
Like stuff sometimes.
Yeah, they taste like stuff. They're
stuff.
Exactly. So this one does not have all that stuff, and you're gonna taste it. You're gonna be like, wait, that's not meat, bro. No, it's not. So we're gonna saute this until it gets a little bit brown. You can smell it?
Yes.
You can smell it?
It smells kind of good there.
Absolutely. So to this, while it's starting to brown, we're going to add onions and peppers.
Always good to add onions and peppers.
Always good to add onions and peppers. I actually add onions and peppers to pretty much everything that I cook. Vitamin C from the peppers. Yeah.
Onions, gotta have it.
You gotta have it, but I mean, even if it wasn't good for you, it tastes good, right? But it is good for you. So I'm gonna add
the color
container. So because we eat with our eyes first, it's gonna make this even more appealing for you to want to eat it, right? But you should have a colorful flavor. You should absolutely have a colorful plate. When you have a colorful plate, you know that you're getting everything that your body needs. And I don't mean a bunch of brown, which is what our diets usually look like, right? Corn, something fried, tart, And
lately, it seems like things with our eyes are like melted cheese and things like that, where this is colorful, this looks fresh. My mouth is watering.
So because this stuff was prepped, some of this was prepped ahead of time. Don't worry, there's seasoning in it. You might not have seen anything yet, but everything is seasoned. So we're gonna let that go for a couple couple of minutes so that the onions get translucent, the pepper starts to cook down, and the sausage continues to brown. So while we're waiting for that, do you have anything you wanna?
Yeah, I want to know about your, I mean, what do you say you're Chef Bree, but you used to be an advisor. You used to be a
Yeah.
teacher. So
Used
what
to
do you
be.
do? I mean, okay. What do you do now is the question.
So I still teach, I still educate, it's just in a different way. So right now I educate people on wellness and how to heal themselves using food.
Mm,
Because believe it or not, food is medicine, and a lot of medicines are actually derived from plants.
all right. I know it, I get it, but how did you get into it? Like, what made you say, I'm really taking this dive? It's a leap, not even a dive, a leap. And I'm gonna get into health and wellness.
Absolutely. So this is actually not far off from what I always wanted to do. I always wanted to be a chef since I was a little girl. We're
Mhm.
talking about watching the PBS channel with people like Julia Child and the Food Gourmet. So interestingly enough, a Black girl from South Providence, I have a very eclectic range of skills. So I can cook literally anything from anybody's culture, even if I've never tasted it, and it'll be spot on.
Okay.
But just conversations with my students. So my students kind of helped me to pursue this. I can't teach at a place for over 20 years and tell my students to pursue their passions and I don't follow mine.
Right.
So this is extra special to me because I get to show my students and my children that it doesn't matter how old you are, you can still follow your dreams and be successful at it.
I actually get it because as an advisor, and I don't know, I did start off as an advisor. Way, way back when. One thing I realized was, yeah, the things my students got into, it made me think, students traveling to China, students taking trips, and I'm like, well, I need to do that. Why can't I do it? And so I backpacked Europe. I did some things that were, challenged me and pushed my own boundaries because that's what I learned from my students. So I think they do. We learn from everybody.
We do. And what I wish I had learned then is to take more risks like that. So if you get an opportunity to follow your passions, and we always used to tell the students, take advantage of every opportunity, and I did not. So I'm going to say that again and mean it because I've learned as a much older adult to do that. And you really understand how fragile life is after life throws you a few curveballs. And then you really take advantage of what you have. So
and so this is your business now. Like,
this is my business.
The AI vegan,
this
right?
Is my business, but it's my purpose.
Say more about that.
My purpose is to heal my people through food. Food is the cause and cure of so many of our illnesses. If we eat ourselves sick, we can also eat ourselves well. But the real question is that we have to ask everybody is, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to be healthy? What are you willing to sacrifice to be healthy? I don't know where I'm supposed to look. What are you willing to sacrifice to be healthy? And if there's a chat available, write it in the chat because I'm really interested in knowing. Everybody's like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to be healthy. The beginning of every January, everybody says the resolution. Why does it have to be then? You don't have to wait.
Usually that doesn't last long. It's like, oh, they start going hard and working out. By February, you're back to eating those chocolates for Valentine's Day.
And that's the thing. Nobody incorporates it into a lifestyle change. People don't seem to think that it has to do with your lifestyle, but it does. Everything that people say, vegan diet, keto diet, paleo diet, what's the consistent word? Diet. It's not sustainable. It has to be an active change in your lifestyle. People want everything handed to them, but even more so because we were home for 2 years. So everybody got used to DoorDash and Grubhub and Instacart and all that stuff that people don't even want to go to the market and touch their own food. I can't do that. I cannot. I have to touch my groceries. I need to see what I'm getting. I need to know that there's care into it. So when I go shopping for my family or for my business, I am handpicking every single thing. I'm looking at every single piece of this produce to make sure that it's the best quality that I can provide. So really quickly,
Yep.
everything is sauteed and it's browning and the onions are cooked down and the peppers are cooked down. So we're gonna add some broccoli. And this is organic frozen broccoli that I washed from Whole Foods. And I like frozen vegetables if I can't get the fresh because they're fresh frozen. So they're picked and frozen so that they maintain their freshness. So I know people like canned stuff, but it loses all the nutrients because it's canned, it's pressure canned, so it's cooked in a can, and plus you cook it when you get it home, so it has literally nothing left nutritional.
I bet you didn't know it was cooked in the can. I didn't know it was cooked in the can.
It is.
I did know that they had to put some preservatives and things in there so it can last long.
Some of them, and if you do get canned goods, look for non-BPA line cans. You don't have to go to Whole Foods to find that. You can find it from Aldi. Aldi has a lot of inexpensive natural and organic foods, and a lot of people didn't know that. So you can, you know, still be healthy on a budget with that.
We're talking about you're using, I'm learning something. So you're using a lot of broccoli. Like that's broccoli, that's a lot of broccoli.
I am.
I don't normally use that much broccoli. So I need to put more vegetables in my.
But look how beautiful this pan is. Look how
Right,
beautiful that is. I don't know if anybody can see. How does it smell in here? Anybody who can smell?
There's a studio audience here. Right here, studio audience. Okay, so here's some things I was thinking about, because you're saying basically you're saying like it should be Whole Foods, but not the store, the whole broccoli, not the one that's always chopped up or whatever. You want it's better. Okay.
No, and actually, believe it or not, and everybody don't go in there all at once so they can raise the prices and I can no longer afford them. But Whole Foods has the big bag of broccoli. Can you put the bag over there? The big bag of broccoli.
It's Whole Foods.
Well, it's about this big. It's 2 pounds maybe, and it's organic, and it's like $4, $4 or $5. So it's pretty inexpensive. But a service that I help with my individual clients is we go to the market and I teach them how to shop. So, and we think of different recipes while we're in the store, and I have them, some people actually want it and they ask for different recipes, and I'll think of something and I'll have them get all the stuff and then walk them through a recipe.
So let's do something fun now. I think this is time to do it. What should we were talking about this earlier. Like there's certain things people do that we think, you know, people might have to stop doing. And then some things that they should start doing. Like we're talking about, hey, you should start eating a nice healthy meal, like we are smelling right now, and like you're watching being made. What are some things people should stop doing? Stop that.
Stop that.
I gotta start, and you know where I'm going. I am sick and tired of things being like, it's almost like they're selling, everything has salt in it, and not everything needs to have salt. If I'm buying cashews, I don't think the cashews need salt. I don't think peanuts need salt. I don't need salt on my cashews.
Absolutely.
I'll leave it at that. I don't want
raw almonds.
I mean, crackers have salt. They're called saltines and some, like, it's like a lot of our food is adorned with salt.
Absolutely.
And if you ever eaten like a cashew without salt or pistachio without salt, it tastes great. Like you do not need all the salt. Stop that.
Stop that.
What do you think?
I don't know.
I got another one because I'm not done.
Say it.
The bread. People think bread is like, oh, bread is all good. I'm good. I got some wheat bread. Look, some bread is not even bread. So you might want to slow down on the bread sometime. And do you know your salt intake, even in that? If you're above 50, like some people, some of us younger people, if you're above 50, the top intake of your caloric intake and what is in most of where you get your top salt from, I get that. Bread. It's bread.
I believe it.
It's bread.
So what
Stop
Danique is
that.
saying is to read labels. That's another service I provide. Is to help people learn how to read labels because most folks have no clue what they're eating.
Mm.
They have no clue how much sodium a slice of bread contains.
Mhm.
And the problem in our community is that our people have high blood pressure, diabetes,
Mhm.
hypertension, all these at alarming rates, when really if they just change what they ate, they really can reverse a lot of those illnesses. But since you spoke of bread,
Mhm.
Chef Sada, you want to show what you made? So you have to understand that everything we make
This
is in the
is
fried
Chef
food.
Bree's daughter who's on the side, but there you go. Let them know who you
My
are.
pastry chef, she's an
Start
artist.
that. Start
She's
that.
start this. So these are rolls that she made, and these are actually healthy for you. If you notice the speckles in them, those are chia seeds. So we use chia seeds and flax seeds and stuff as binders, but it's intentional because it helps with your digestion. So everything that you eat is gonna heal you.
Yeah.
That's what we do. I just wanted to show you. This is bread you can start, and you don't have to stop
That's
this one.
Got another one that you
Homemade.
gotta stop, man, and then I'll stop that. You know, I had it bad with chicken growing up.
Mm.
I mean, I'm telling you, my family makes the best fried chicken and we brag about it. And I used to love it. I do still love it. In fact, I love it.
Mhm.
You're not gonna just make me not love fried chicken anymore. But when you find out how much sodium is injected in the chicken and what is done to chicken,
Mhm.
it made me stop that. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, chicken is like injected with sodium. It's not.
And it tells you, it says injected with 5% solution of whatever. But if you really still want it, like there's places that you can source it, local farms. Once again, reading labels is helpful. So you can get chicken that's not injected from different stores. So I just wanted to say that, but you're absolutely right. So here's another place where sodium doesn't belong just as it is,
Doesn't
and
belong
they
there.
inject it in there anyway.
Sodium, like slow down on the sodium and in the sweets, like
Sugar,
sugar.
stop that.
Stop it.
Cut it
Slow
out.
it down.
Coconut sugar though is really good. And it's good for you. Your body can break it down. Your body can break that down better because the sugar is processed. So it causes our insulin levels to spike.
Mhm.
So for folks who are diabetic, it's a wrap, but it's causing other people to be pre-diabetic.
Mhm.
And a lot of our children are.
Exactly. Because pre-diabetic is now what? Type 2 diabetes. It used to be called adult onset diabetes.
Yeah.
Why did they change the name? Because youngsters now are diabetic too. Stop it. And stop giving all of our kids all this milk with sugar in it. And since I'm in Rhode Island, coffee milk too. Stop it.
Blasphemy. Just kidding. But anyway,
Yeah.
so the veggies, the broccoli has started to cook through. So this is actually, I made this ahead of time because I didn't know how much time we have. But this is our Rasta pasta sauce. So when people ask, like, what is Rasta pasta if they've never had it? Basically, I call it Jamaican Alfredo. That's the only way to describe it that people would kind of understand, like, what the heck is Rasta pasta?
Mhm.
So this is our sauce that we make from scratch. Everything that we make is from scratch.
What
pretty
is
much.
in this?
I can't tell you no. Almond milk. So I start with like most of my cheese sauces start with the bechamel, which is flour, oil, like a gravy, but a white
Okay.
gravy, and almond milk or pea milk or hemp milk. That's pea protein.
Mhm. Yep, I get it.
But some kind of alternative plant-based milk is what I'll use, and I'll season it, and then we add different types of cheeses, vegan cheeses. So
Okay.
that's what's in here. So now that the veggies and the sausage are cooked down, this is what we're gonna have. It looks a little
It should
lumpy.
be
That's
like
just because it's
angelic
settled.
singing
That's
and
just because
noises.
it's
And,
settled.
look at it. It just is.
And I'm not gonna be like the cooking shows that do not come in here and get this out the container. That drives me nuts because I'm like, that is so wasteful.
Start that. Get the stuff out the container.
Yeah, get that out of the container. Don't you realize there's a shortage around these parts? Like, no, get it all. So
And I got another one. I'm sorry. Stop ordering from DoorDash and Uber Eats so much. Do you know how much you gotta pay for food? Like for that, first you pay for the food, then you pay double to get it to you. So you're not even moving to get the food.
Is it true that people are like paying $20 for like a $5 value meal of some sort?
Yeah,
That,
that's how
I don't know. I've never ordered because I refuse.
refuse. Like, you know, they double you pay for whatever you're getting, and then you pay the tax, and then you pay to tip the person, and then you pay another fee that they don't really explain. It's too much.
I'd much prefer to go to the store and get it myself. Sure. Thank you, Chef. Would you like to taste it before it?
I want some like chef. Okay, chef.
Yeah.
Chef Boy
Let me
Dolly.
tell you.
Go ahead.
Chef
Yeah, I
Sada,
want. Yes.
Chef Sada, she's amazing. I just got to shout her out real fast because she's my daughter who grew up at the Met. I was pregnant. I was at the Met before I had her. I was pregnant with her. She spent most of her early years at the school, so she's like she's honorary alumni, like. But she is amazing, and I could not do any of this without her. So I have to shout her out every opportunity I get, and I will continue to shout her out to my last breath because she helped to put everything together. She helps to prep. She keeps my head on straight. I couldn't do it without her. I love you.
Oh, that's sweet. So think of it this, and I do. For those, I don't know if I said it, but I was Sabrina's principal, or we were. Man, Chef Bree. Bluebird Chef Bree's principal for a good while. And yeah, I saw everybody, and it's interesting because I think thinking about what we're doing now, what do you think now that you know and are living this lifestyle? You are a Chef Bree in the place to be. What do you? I'm gonna get to this, but I gotta ask you this. Like, what would you tell kids now if you were in school, or if you were working in schools? As
I would continue to say to take advantage of every opportunity, because you never know what can spark something in you. But even if that particular thing,
you push it related to health and wellness.
Oh, related to health and wellness.
Because I didn't do enough. I don't think I did enough. We didn't do enough.
We didn't. So actually, this really started. I had a conversation with my students about sustainability one day. Now, if anybody knows anything about the school, well, I know, especially back in the day, we get opportunities like at a drop of a dime. What are you doing? We have to go to this play in 10 minutes. Okay, no lesson, we'll just do it. So I was having a conversation with the group of students I had then, and I was kind of talking about stuff like that and different opportunities that we always used to get. And we started talking about food and sustainability from that conversation. And I said, it's very important to know where your food comes from. And this was probably 15, 16, around there. That's important. And later that day, no word of a lie, I was going through my emails, and there was an opportunity to learn how to hydroponic garden at Salve. And they were choosing one teacher per school from different schools in the state. And I was like, yeah, right. I applied and I was selected. I was the only one from our school selected. I'm not a science teacher by trade. I'm just interested in that. And I've always been connected to food and how it grows. So I was selected. I went there for the week. I learned how to teach hydroponic gardening, built my own cart.
I do remember.
And you came up, and had it in my class. And the irony is that I was the only person of color, but I'm not a science teacher and everybody else was. So when the professor and his assistant visited the class, they were very shocked because my garden looked better than anyone's they had visited. And I didn't have that background. But it was important for my students. Like, they really were passionate about growing their own food, and they, had competitions and everything, but they were able to understand the importance of knowing how to grow your own food.
I think that's
Did
big.
I answer your question?
No, yeah, yes. And I'm just going to add, I think, I think I would have tried to push more projects related to health and wellness.
Absolutely.
Or
I didn't answer your question.
Related to health and wellness.
Answer your question fully.
Well,
but you're right. Absolutely.
But you're talking about what you do with some students around it. I think, but it would be on that level. Like, what else could we have done or what can people do now at their locations, no matter what type of school you're at, you still can do stuff related to
You
health and
still-
wellness.
Honestly, and I think a good starting point is just having that conversation about knowing how important it is to know where your food comes from. And learning how to grow it yourself, because that's a skill that we just need.
I think it's like a food, no, it's health maturity, or it's like
Mhm.
degrees of it.
Absolutely.
And I think we cover health and PE. But I don't think what we really do is really go deep into it, and like, it's not something you cover one semester and you say, yeah, that's it. No, this is something you got to learn for the rest of your life.
You do.
Or you'll be watching a McDonald's commercial and you want to eat that over something healthy because you don't really understand what you're eating.
Once
Don't
again,
really-
a lifestyle change. And people aren't willing to change their lifestyles because it tastes too good, or they think it's going to be too much work to do it. But isn't your, like, how valuable is your health?
Mhm.
Do you want to live? Everybody's walking around with distended bellies and swollen and inflamed, and nobody is really thinking about how that sandwich made them feel. Well, guess what? It's because of something. Let's branch over to something else. Eating by your blood type.
Mhm.
We're breaking it down on a cellular level. So that's another thing that I do. I help people heal themselves by eating by their blood type. And that's super important because even our blood types will tell you that we're not supposed to eat certain things. I've been plant-based for, this is my 7th year. And certain things that are generally healthy, my blood type cannot process. So that presents itself as inflammation, your joints are all messed up, you
Mhm.
feel all, bloated and gassy and stuff. That's because your body can't process that out. So it's finding the path of least resistance, which is your joints. Your
Mhm.
gut has a lot of empty space, and this is what happens.
Yeah, let's go even a little bit deeper. I think even if you look and see, we're always the customer.
Mhm.
I'll say especially the people of color and the poor are always the customer when it comes to, we're not getting the healthy foods.
Right.
We're getting the leftover foods, the foods that aren't that great, or they're doubling down on the fried foods in our neighborhood.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm from East Harlem, and you get your chopped cheese, you could get your chicken wings and French fries, you get your pizza. But I know what you can't get. There's no Whole Foods in East Harlem right now. Shout out to East Harlem, by the way. And so it's like,
There's one on our corner, 125th though.
oh yeah, but look what you got to do to get food though. That's what, like,
That's it.
other neighborhoods, you go down the block. My mom couldn't do that.
Well, you know something also, Whole Foods is seen as something that's inaccessible by us. People in our community, I go to every Whole Foods in the state, and I see more people in our community in Whole Foods now just to drop off an Amazon package than to go in there. I think people are intimidated by it. They're afraid of going in there. And that's why I provide the service of going with people and shopping with them, because I'm there to show people that, hey, we can shop here too.
And you're giving them the lenses
and I'm
and the perspective to be able to do that.
And I don't think people understand, but Whole Foods accepts EBT benefits. So you can come slide your card and get healthy.
Yeah, it's
My hair, I'm gonna wash it.
washing the hands. Make sure you wash your hands. I think this thing about like maturity when it comes to health, or really getting a deeper knowledge of things, is really important. Knowledge of self.
Absolutely.
Knowledge of like what goes in your body, and not just accepting that somebody makes you a fried, a steak and cheese and you're just going to eat it. And then doing some of your own cooking yourself. That's something I wish I would have did more of, exposing or pushing kids to cook.
Absolutely. And
everybody cooks in life, so why can't we all learn to cook?
And I try to do that with my students in my class, and that's just me and my little world. But I would also bring in foods all the time. And my students, when I went plant-based, and I felt, this is why I know this is my purpose, because it's all about the exposure. A lot of people aren't even exposed to this. They don't know. Most of the people in the Black community, they say vegan. Now listen, my mother has had my cooking my entire life, loves it, loves everything about my cooking. When I went plant-based, she has to verify through my daughter that there's meat in it before she eats it, because she refuses to.
Yeah.
So
Or they make fun of it, like, oh, you eating that
Absolutely.
rabbit food? This
Absolutely.
isn't funny.
Not rabbit
Like,
food.
it's not, and it's not
Yeah,
funny
funny.
because we think that what happens a lot. I'll say from those who I know and some who I'm related to, it's like, yeah, it's in me, it's in my genes. So I'm gonna get sick anyway. I'm gonna get high blood pressure anyway because my aunt and my uncle had, or my
That doesn't
dad
run in
had.
your family. Those are bad habits that run in your family.
Say it again.
Oftentimes it's not genetics. There are some cases where it may be, but I'm telling you right now, it is due to bad habits. We pass those bad habits down. It's not a gene we pass down, it's the bad habits. So we have to, when they talk about breaking generational curses, this is breaking a generational curse, teaching your children how to eat better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've seen their grandparents suffer, but they're smoking and drinking a Pepsi and eating the fried foods, like you said. This is not to bash anybody, but I do want to say you can still do it on a budget. You can still do it if you get EBT benefits. I can show you.
Mm-hmm. And people, I mean, an easy one is smoking because I'll own that. My family, smoke. A lot of them smoke.
Mine too.
And it was passed down, and like everybody is stopping now, even though vaping is like it should be criminal. Criminal.
So people are smoking on a battery.
And so we're smoking on a battery, like you're smoking like metal. And so basically, and when you're smoking cigarettes, it's the same thing, but who knew? And I know Newport was sold in my neighborhood all the time. All
the time.
Like Alive with Pleasure, Newport. Put that together with some greasy chicken, or Kool-Aid or anything that has a cup of sugar. Yes, a cup of sugar.
What flavor? Red.
Red with grape with the lemonade. The lemon in it.
Notice we said what flavor? Red. What flavor is red? Do we know? Is it cherry?
What is that?
Is it tropical?
Nice. I won't lie. I used to make it, but I grew up on it and I didn't know better. And that's the maturity I'm talking about. And then I go to school. I go to a prep school like that. It wasn't like, hey, here's what you eat. I just ate burgers every day. That was my metabolism. So anyway, what we got going on here? Because this is looking good.
I know. So basically, this was pasta that Chef Sada prepared earlier, and we're just mixing it. So I'm just taking spoonful after spoonful to mix it so I don't spill it, but I already did. I don't know if anybody caught that. I'm sure somebody did. Yeah. But yeah, we're just mixing it in, and once it's done, I'll garnish, and then you can eat.
Yeah. So you have this. This is looking really good. What kind of noodles are those?
Cavatappi is my favorite pasta to work with. So if you order from us, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get this pasta. I like the corkscrew, but it's corkscrew with the lines. So rigate is how they would say it. And it holds the sauce better.
Okay.
So that's why I like it.
Man, you ready? I mean, okay, yeah, there's a show going on here, and I'm back to it. So you got into cooking, you're helping people with health and wellness.
Absolutely.
And do you subscribe to these? One thing I'm realizing is people really are about these terms: vegetarian, pescatarian, tarian, and everything else. Like, does that really matter, or is it just like what really matters when it comes to, like, according to you, lifestyle medicine and health? Like, I'm tired of it's about titles. I don't know how
right. And I'm so glad that you brought that up, because let me just first say that vegan does not inherently mean healthy, because Oreos are vegan. A lot of potato chips, depending on what flavorings they use, are vegan. That doesn't sound very
right, because that cream isn't cream, it's creme.
It's creme with the accent. It's fancy. But yeah, so just because it's vegan, it's not. So like I was saying before, if you're gonna eat a meat sub, like the burgers that's on the market, the Impossible and Beyond, I think.
Yeah, Beyond Burgers. Yeah.
They're still kind of fatty. And there's still chemicals in a lot of that stuff. It's still processed.
High sodium, once again.
Very high sodium, actually, because they're trying to get it to mimic meat in that way. I will say this past weekend, Chef Bree created some vegan burgers, and according to the customers who tested them, they're pretty fire. So, and I can watch the sodium intake in that.
Yeah. And
So that was a big deal for me this weekend. But yes, vegan does not inherently mean healthy. So I suggest if you're going to eat the meat, then you find local, you find as high quality as you can afford. And really just read labels. Just read labels. You have to read labels because if you don't, then you're gonna get yourself in trouble. So
all right.
I'm gonna garnish now with Chef Sada made this. It's like a spicy black and Cajun.
Black and Cajun, right? Okay.
Add a little bit more spice, just so you know the sauce is actually pretty spicy.
Oh,
And it's
all right.
a little more.
A little kick. Man, this is looking, I mean, you just did this like with ease while talking with us, but it looks great. You didn't do like they did on some of the shows, put it in the oven and come out with something else. You did that. You ever saw that? Man, like the hands don't feel like they're like, oh yeah, then you pull something else.
Let me see if I can show the camera without dropping it.
Please, because I'm really, this is looking right.
I'll tell you what though, my hair is looking real sweated out. But the food is good.
That's right.
But the food is good. Chef Sada, you also made something else.
What is?
No. So we do different types of egg rolls for our business. And you should follow us, the Afro-Indigenous Vegan _ between all the words, and I am Chef Bree _ between all the words. So these are spinach pie egg rolls. And spinach pie is like one of those really Rhode Island things like coffee milk and those pizza strips. And we make spinach pie in the way that you remember it in an egg roll. But speaking of egg rolls, when we work with people based on eating by their blood type, we have them, I can get 10 or more highly beneficial ingredients in an egg roll. So you can have all your nutrients for the day in 2 bites.
What? Wait.
And that's a whole other segment. You'll have to back from Big Picture Living to talk about eating by your blood type. Because by our blood type, we are really not supposed to process certain things. Like, I'm just gonna let y'all know, if anybody who's out there who's a B blood type, positive or negative, that doesn't matter for this particular thing. But if you're a B blood type, you can't even eat chicken. So can you imagine how many of our people are sitting out there eating chicken and you're not supposed to process that. Your body does not process that.
Okay.
We don't look like we have 30-some-odd-year-old former student. You probably have 40-something-year-old
former students are I shouldn't be telling all the info, but they're 10 years younger than me. Means they're 40, they're in their 40s.
Yeah, so it's like, life, we love to have them, and they're gonna show up when life allows them to, but
no,
it's
but
a beautiful thing to still be connected.
But I still want to talk about that because you are connected to. I first of all, it was easy for me to just get them, and they will be here later. We're gonna hang out and talk. But like, how is it that how'd you do it? How'd you maintain relationships with students so long, and you were a great teacher.
Thank you.
You are a great teacher. Like, what? Any secrets? Anything we can get from you related to it?
Honestly, I'm a mother first. And I think that was really what helped me as a teacher. And even before I was a mother, I was always maternal. So I always approached my students and their families from a maternal place. So I think that's what allowed them to okay. And a lot of our students, we know, if you're in education, everyone's home situation is not necessarily ideal. So school was often a safe place. And if you provided that safe place for students, then they felt comfortable. So the students who I'm still in contact with, most of them, their families, like we've been really, really tight. Like one of the students right now, but amazing student. Like she was that student who I'd be like, all right, well, I'm gonna send you 2 weeks outward sailing and backpacking, and do it. And she's just like, okay, and did it.
Yeah, she was star. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then literally hours after she comes back from this treacherous 2-week excursion of only showering in salt water by jumping off the boat and coming back on, I go to her and say, hey, there's this 4-day retreat that we need to send you to. I know you literally just got back. Like, she hasn't even combed her hair, anything. And she looks at me and says, can I just go get my hair done first? And that was it.
Mhm.
And that, like, she trusted me that much. Literally, that's literally how it went. Came back from one, a few hours later, she was out at another one. And she thanks me, like, I'm glad you sent me to those because I grew so much. And she's phenomenal. And she's studying to be a lawyer. She has her own business. She's a great mother. And she's just an overall amazing person. And I know you're still in contact with some of your students, and to see them at different levels. And we were young teachers.
Oh, yeah.
We were very young teachers.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like we were learning
Straight from
with
grad
them.
school.
Right. We were learning with our students. And I tell them all the time, when we started working at the school, because it was so different than anything that I've ever done, most of us, you have to unlearn. So do I.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I'm learning how to do the learning plans while I'm teaching you, because I didn't really know. And I think it was a beautiful thing for me to be there for 20 and 21 years, you know, for as long as I was, because I saw the school in many iterations. I came in when it was still at the
Shepherd campus, baby.
Yes, the flagship school. And you recruited me.
Yes, I did.
Danique actually stole me from Highlander. Totally stole me. But I'm so grateful. I love you so much, big brother.
Oh, thank you, sister.
You know, I want to make sure that that is on film and everybody sees it, because I want to give you your roses, because Chef Bree, you ain't but I grew so much in that environment, and I was able to, you know, you grow when you're in situations and you just take from it and you learn and you keep, you know, the main thing is that you continue to get better.
Yeah.
And I noticed with every class, I just became a much better educator. More things started to make sense that didn't make sense before. And you just grow, but you have to, that's the operative word, you have to grow.
Yeah, you have to grow and open your mind and learn from them and watch them as well.
That's the best part of being a teacher, in my opinion, is because I get to learn from them.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I can't use any of the slang with my kids because they look at me like, that is not how you're supposed to use it. You see her face.
Lit. No.
That's
okay. Sorry.
You're like, yeah, mommy, no. So I don't know how you.
But and you also have good Emilio, Lamont, like there's a good number of students that still keep up with you.
Absolutely.
And I think that says something. Even when I reached out to them, it's like, yeah, all right, I got you. Like I still felt, and I think that is the power of relationships. It wasn't like you, Mr. What's his name, and I know he McCoy. Right. I know E-Man. Like,
and we've
it's
known
the freaking frat.
Young, like teenagers, barely teenagers, to parents. So like to see them in all these iterations, and then I'm like, it's so crazy because I was having a conversation with Reynaldo yesterday, and I just was like, you know, you got to see me also through different stages of my life, because we were very young, and then we grow up and we become adults for real. And then we have children of our own. And my students, I had all my kids while I was still at the school. So, you know, they got to see me be a parent. And when I see them parent their children, I see some of the stuff that they've learned from me also. So it's like a beautiful cycle if you're in touch. And sometimes you're not, and that's okay too. But the families that you are, you have to understand. And, you know, God bless Miss Elaine, rest in peace. One thing Miss Elaine used to say, you know, I know, let us not.
Shout out to Elaine Walker Cabral.
Yes, Miss Elaine, we love you. Who was the heartbeat of the school.
We enroll families.
We enroll families. And when I heard that from Miss Elaine, I took that to heart. So even as the school evolved, I still maintained, you saw my classroom, I still maintained the old school feel.
At the table, yeah.
It was, you sit at the table with your students, family style, and you're looking at each other and you engage with them. And I did that up until the very last moment I was in that building that I could. And that was important to hold on to that legacy of old school. But yes, Miss Elaine, when she said that, and then I had you as my principal, and which I don't understand is Danique set a whole tone for the kids. And this is why Shepherd was such an amazing place. Our kids were held to a higher standard because we're in a building with adults. We're in the building with the Department of Education, who was down our throats. And we had, our students had to be adults.
Yeah.
They had to adult
Or at least
immediately.
act right.
Or
Yeah.
act right.
It
Because you knew
rise to the occasion.
absolutely. And I think that dynamic alone helped to, our students were a lot more mature because you had to be, because you're in that environment and you had to rise to the occasion, like you said. But Danique would come, he would have music, not loud, but just different types of music that's exposing the kids to that and opening everybody's brains and making them ready to learn every single day. And the kids love that. You know, we have students who would be there before us.
Yeah.
Lupu, shout out to Lupu. I'm still in touch with her too sometimes.
Good.
Big Brittany.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in Alabama. She
yeah, because I know she went down there for school.
Yes.
Got in that school from what, wrote a great essay,
yes.
and next thing you know, you got a full ride or something like that.
Listen. But it was such a great experience, and you created such a phenomenal environment for the kids. Like, and they were so devastated. You left such a void when you left. But for real, like, that is important. Those relationships are important. That's why you could call them and say, hey, I'm in town, I want you to come through. And they're like, absolutely, you know, as long as life permits, but they're gonna come through. Yeah. Because of the relationship that you built with them, like Lamont.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I'm saying? And I wish he was able to join in, like you said. But
yeah, he's coming in.
But that's a student that I think, like, you need a segment with just you and him because of the relationship that you built with him. And he still draws on that information that he learned from you. And it's just telling the kids that you care and actually caring.
Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. No, you just gave me an idea. So we did we let some people know a little too recent, but I will do one with just the alums. I'm gonna do a podcast with just the alumni, bringing Lamont, and then we can get Reynalba and some others, and just with no cooking, just straight up to them, and so they can have their voice.
Absolutely.
I will do that because they meant a lot to me. I looked out for them. I wanted to make sure, I'll keep it really real. I want to make sure this worked for all kids. Black, brown, or white, don't matter. I want to make sure it worked for everybody. And at that point in my life, I was like, I need to see it work for this little Lamont who isn't little anymore.
I know.
You know, or any of them, Hubie, all of them. I want to see it work, you know, and so that was important. I was like, I'm here for a reason. I want people like me to be able to be good. So yeah, that mattered. I
really think that having a combination of both of us, you know, they saw two people who were in authoritative positions who looked like them. I don't think people understand the importance of that. But not only do we look like them, we actually really care for them.
And then we're not saying that others don't matter, but if you don't recruit all the time, I learned that. Like Brother Carlos, you know.
Oh, you recruited Carlos too?
Yeah, Carlos, yeah. But it's that's what it was about. And so just making them, you know, helping the good people get in these positions because I thought it was important. I didn't want them, we don't belong in some traditional school. So I wanted to make sure people saw it. I want you to come into the spring. And if you can, I don't know if you can.
Stoves off.
You know, stoves off, and we can move the food just that enough.
We're done.
But what do you? I want you to. We're about to close up soon and get some meat, and you know that's what it. You know, and this is the prequel. This is the Big Picture Day Eve. So this is just to get us warmed up. And you've seen a lot. Yes. You watched your mom go from an educator. She's always an educator, but a teacher in a school to running her own business. And you've seen the students. Yeah. And you've been a part of it. So how do you feel when what do you think about all that?
Well, I think it's really cool. Like she said earlier, the whole
telling your students to follow your dreams and you're not doing it yourself. It's like kind of hypocritical in a sense, not in a negative way, but it's still hypocritical. You're going back on your word, kind of. You're not doing it yourself, but you're telling people to do it. So I think, it was really brave of her to do that. It was tough leaving the kids, but she still like visits them and stuff. So she's in contact with them, but she had to do it sooner or later. That's her passion. So it just made sense. When are you gonna take that leap and do it?
Yeah. And you never leave your kids anyway. I mean, my kids
exactly.
always, even when I left to go to grad school, work on a doctorate, Mr. Dolly, they call another school called me Mr. Dolly. Mr. Dolly left us. And then I'm like, I'm at your graduation right now. Like, I'm Dr. Dolly now. I'm at your graduation. Yeah, City Neighbors High School. Shout out to City Neighbors High School.
Cause look at this, let me slide back her here for a second. So, and later on, years later, Danique got to work with another student of mine, Nasha. Shout out to Nasha, because Nasha is amazing. And not only does she work at the Met where she graduated from, but she also is the director of one of the Providence Rec Centers. And let me tell you the amazing stuff that she does for the kids. Like, she goes from one job to the next till 9, and then gets up at 5, 6 and does it all over again every single day. And she uses her own money for the kids. She uses her own resources all the time. So if people want to give, like, support Nasha and the John Rollins Recreational Center in Providence, because she does amazing stuff for them. And I just want to say that. I got to shout her out. But she did her senior project at Danique School in Baltimore. So I just had to say that. So he knows her too.
Now we're back to you not getting away yet. So more about what you see and what you feel, and then we're gonna just close on out and get to eat it. But well, let's think. No, more importantly, what are you going to be doing moving forward? Are you going to get deeper into this business? And
well, yeah, definitely deeper into the business. Yeah, I do have my own businesses.
Well, so let us know, and then we'll close from there. I don't know what you're up to.
Well, my first one, my main one, that I advertise is just Sobeys, and I make custom natural pet treats. So, dog, cat, rabbit, I'll make it custom. So if you have a lizard or something, I would talk to you, have a consultation, and what they eat, what they need. Also for specific diets. So if your dog, cat, whatever has stomach issues, we'll talk about that, see what we can incorporate in their diet in a treat, or I can also make food for them as well. So that's that one.
She make kibble for her.
Well, you just said, remember you said you had to interrupt and the trauma, but stuff gets passed through generations. Well, I see something is getting passed. You are an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And you're just innovating and creating. So that is a beautiful thing, and keep on passing that on.
Yes, thank you.
Chef Bree, come back in the screen and we're gonna close out. Thank you. Any closing words for our audience? And this is the beginning of, tomorrow's Big Picture Living Day, with some green, if you know what I mean. So we're definitely we're gonna do a little yoga, do some mindfulness, hear from doctor, talk about lifestyle medicine, all that kind of stuff. So I want to, first of all, thank you. Before I ask anything else, thank you for the food that we're all about to eat soon. And thank you for demonstrating how easy it can be, or not easy, but how it can happen.
And I hope you guys learned something. I know I was busy having a conversation and just doing my thing, because I'm in a zone.
Oh, so thank you for doing it. And any closing words from you?
Thank you to anybody who tuned in or who will tune in. Thank you for having me. This is very important because this has become my lifestyle over the last 7 years. I've always been interested in wellness, but I decided to take that deep dive into it, and I can't turn back. It's important for me to teach people how to heal themselves, like the proverb, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. And that's what I do. I teach you how to fish. I don't just give you the fish.
Or get some plants and make
Yeah.
food.
Yeah. Like I said, I planted seeds. It's up to you to water it.
Yep. And yeah, for me, hey, this is the beginning, first of all, and this is show yourself a little TLC. But in this TLC is total lifestyle change. Embrace it.
I love it.
Embrace it. Try something new for size. Try some food that may be plant-based and have no meat in it, and see how your body feels.
And look how good that looks.
You look at it.
I'm
We're
just
about to
saying.
get it in. So, Chef Bree, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down on this, Big Picture Day Eve. And
I
tomorrow,
get to kick it off.
oh, you got to.
I get to
Thank you.
kick it off. Like I am here. I am kicking it off. Like I know that's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, you call this the prequel. For real though, thank you for coming and making this happen. And we really wanted to show people how this is done. So thank you for doing that. Thank those that are watching. And this is the beginning. So we will do more tomorrow. But if you can, make a meal for yourself. Try something. Don't just DoorDash it. Try something yourself so you can see, because it might just say, help your life, help you feel better and keep you well.
And also think about how many hands your package goes through by the time it gets to you.
Oh, don't let it get started. See, we're getting started. Well, this is Danique Dolly, otherwise known as Dr. BD, in the place to be. And what we're going to do now is we're going to eat.
Eat.
So thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.